Yes, yes, college football fans. Round one is now in the books. Now we prepare for round number two with a matchup, well, that could very well determine the national championship. Well, almost. You've got one quarterback out to prove he's just not along for the ride, and you've got another quarterback proving maybe it's not just the guys around him. Either way, both of these quarterbacks must have their best on display for their team to win. Now, whether it's not committing the big turnover or making the big play and just running the game plan. Either way, I think one team understands what's at stake while the other is just hoping to prove they belong. These stories and more on this edition of Gridiron Gab Triple Option. And finally, we look at the matchup that Brad has been looking forward to. That sees a rematch of the regular season game between the Ole Miss Rebels and the Georgia Bulldogs at the All-State Sugar Bowl. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and say this right now. Everybody's sitting here expecting a good game here. I don't. I saw too many things in that Tulane game that allowed for Georgia to win this game the first time. Okay? And what I saw was it took the Southern boys of Athens 3 quarters to figure out, hey, we got a game going on here. Trinidad Chambliss was not very good once the Georgia defense realized there was a game going on. I said it. Once the Georgia defense realized the game was going on, and the crowd in Athens realized there was a game going on, they shut them down. But you know what I really got tired of hearing from the wine bums and everybody at ESPN? Oh, yeah, Kirby Smart's just a great second half adjuster. He's really good at getting these guys here, and they're just a second half team. No. Look, some of it's just teams run out of gas. In this game, it wasn't the fact they ran out of gas, because Trinidad Chambliss, look, you can sit here and call it what you want. Go back and watch that game. Trinidad Chambliss was missing guys that were open. That didn't look like anything to do with Kirby Smart. Quarterbacks missing wide open receivers. Wasn't like he was getting rushed. There was a few rushes they got, but that was after the avalanche that took place. Go back and watch the game. Trinidad Chambliss had a horrible fourth quarter, one he would like to forget. Now, many of you are going to say, well, if he's that good, why are you talking about Georgia? I'm talking about Georgia because, realistically, they figured out who they are. Brad can tell you, Georgia couldn't figure out if they were going to be a running football team or they were going to be a Gunnar Stockton-led team. They couldn't figure it out. And when you can't figure out what your identity is, it makes it difficult to lean on when you get in desperate situations or in situations that are dire. You go to what you know when you have 4th and 1s or 3rd and longs or game on the line situations. You go to what you do well. You don't go to what you don't do well. So ultimately, as a team that ultimately understands, Georgia has been going to the well of running the football. Nate Frazier's been a big part of that. 861 on the year. Chauncey Bowens, 516. So now you're looking at a Georgia team that is assured of itself running the football. And you got a guy in Gunnar Stockton who is not necessarily a guy whom everybody was talking about as a Heisman candidate. I chuckle at it because Gunnar Stockton is a good player, but he ain't no Heisman candidate. You know, he ain't no more Heisman candidate than Haynes King was. Stockton is just, you know, for somebody that was one of the best passers in high school, he just ain't got there yet. But I will say this, a lot of your quarterbacks' stats are predicated on guys who can get open. Really, they don't have a lot of guys that can get open. Zachariah Branch has 73 grabs on the year for 744 yards at 10.2 a catch. And the transfer, and then you've got Kobe Young, whom they've struggled to get him the ball this year. Early on, you saw him get the ball. The 6'3", 215-pound senior, 23 grabs, 336 yards on the year. He could be huge in this game. I do say this, that if Georgia can slow down Ole Miss's running game, which I think they will, I don't think they're going to have – I think Trinidad Chambliss is going to have a hard time throwing against this Georgia secondary. Not that the secondary is good, but I think that Georgia has found something in their pass rush now. They're sending the house more than they have in, I would say, the previous 7 games. They really weren't sending a lot of pressure. I think they've really – I think what this college football playoff has done now, it's allowing teams to kind of hold back what they want to do during the regular season and then save it for the big time. I think you're going to see your best football coming up the next 2 weeks. You're going to see a lot of stuff that you have not seen in the regular season from teams. I think you're going to see a lot of different play designs as well as formations from teams that you probably hadn't seen but maybe once. Even special teams. If you've got a really good special team coach like Notre Dame has, you're going to see a lot of different things, like Kirby trying to steal Marcus Freeman's, running them out there on 4th down when it's instead of punting. I think this is where Kirby is going to outsmart Ole Miss. I think you're going to see at least 2 or 3 plays where he outsmarts the coaching staff for Ole Miss, and they're going to look unprepared. I think Ole Miss's defense is finally going to get exposed. I know a lot of people are going to say, what are you saying? Are you saying that about Mike Bobo? Yes, I'm saying this about Mike Bobo. I don't think Trinidad Chambliss is going to go off. I think he has a decent game, but I think Georgia's defense is going to be swarming. They're going to cause turnovers. I think Gunnar Stockton plays within himself. I think Georgia realizes they can win this game without showing a lot, because ultimately, they're going to know who they have to face off against, because they're the last game, and they're ultimately going to understand what they have to do to go to the next round. But guys, let me know what you think about Georgia versus Ole Miss. But guys, let me know what you think is going to be the player of this game. Who do you think is going to stake their claim as the big-time baller in this matchup? Hit me down in the comments. Make sure you check out my other 3 shows on this topic. Also, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit the bell notification so you can get the other 3 shows that I have out on the college football second round matchups coming up New Year's Day. Make sure you go over to Facebook at Gridiron Gab Triple Option so you can keep up with the group as well as the page. And finally, go over to my Instagram at Mr. CeeLo so you can stay with me on all my shenanigans. I will be caught up during and off season. But until the next time, same Gab channel, same Gab platform.